Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Zach Kirkhorn, Tesla's CFO, has stepped down. And in this video, I'd like to explore if this is a big deal. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And so here's the formal notification from Tesla to investors. As of August 4th, Tesla appointed Vaibhav Taneja, let me know if I'm pronouncing that right, probably not, as Chief Financial Officer in addition to his current role as Chief Accounting Officer to succeed Zachary Kirkhorn. Mr. Kirkhorn stepped down as of August 4th after a 13-year tenure with the company, the last 4 years of which he has served as Master of Coin and Chief Financial Officer. Gotta love how they kept that in there. During this tenure, Tesla has seen tremendous expansion and growth. Tesla thanks Mr. Kirkhorn for his significant contributions. And then there's a little bit about Mr. Taneja. Let me know again if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's been at Tesla a little over 6 years. This is Tesla's new CFO and current CAO, Chief Accounting Officer. And he was also at Solar City for a little bit over a year before they were acquired by Tesla. And of course, he was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, for a little over 16 years. So he's been in the game for quite a while now. Now, a lot of people are speculating what has happened. Obviously, when an executive leaves, especially a major company, it's big news. And especially when it comes to Tesla, as anything with Tesla, Elon Musk in the headline title will get a lot of clicks. And so there's a lot of speculation as to what's going on with this recent move. Now, of course, it could have been a situation where Zach and Elon weren't seeing eye to eye, or maybe Elon didn't think Zach was performing, or Zach was just fed up and he wanted to leave. But usually these things, I believe, are a lot more nuanced, and it's probably not as a black and white thing that a lot of folks might be making it out to be. Now, what is factual from my perspective is that Zach has a proven track record and is a loss to Tesla for sure. He's been at the company for 13 years and he's made it up all the way from being an analyst to a CFO, and he's obviously very talented. And people that usually listen to Tesla's quarterly earnings calls, one of the things I always heard was that he was a very calming presence. He was very good at communicating with investors and really outlining the financial sort of future for the company in a way that most people could understand. So from that perspective, he's obviously a huge loss. But the one thing to keep in mind is that it seems like Tesla has a very deep bench of executives. If you look at their previous meetings and their previous earnings calls and also investor day and things like that, you can see that they have, 20 people, it seems like, that are ready to just jump into the next spot. And I saw this myself while I was working at the company. Just the company seems to be extremely deep from a talent perspective. And so those two things, I believe, are true. Zach is a loss and Tesla is also very, very deep. Now, because the succession is internal, meaning that they hired somebody, they promoted somebody internally, my gut tells me is that this is probably already planned. It was something that was in the works. Maybe the timeline is a little bit quicker than people may have thought. Who knows? But the fact that it is internal and it was announced in conjunction with him leaving tells me that it perhaps may have been planned for a little while and Elon had a heads up from Zach, but I could be completely wrong there. Now, the other thing that points to this being sort of a good parting instead of, say, a bad parting where Zach's like, screw you, I'm sick of you, or Elon's like, you're fired, is that Zach is staying for an additional 4 months to help the company transition, or rather to help the new CFO transition into the role, which of course means that, hey, if the company is okay with Zach staying around, they're probably happy with him, right? Instead of saying, you're gone, we're going to put this new person in. Or who knows, it could be one of those things where corporations want to sort of send a certain message to investors that says, everything is fine, we're good. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below and your replies as well if you're on X. But yeah, from my perspective, I don't think he would have, the company at least would have messaged that he's going to be around for 4 more months unless they were happy with his performance and it was an amicable departure, separation. And so from my perspective, I think this is Zach Kirkhorn just opening the next chapter of his life. We've seen this happen in the past with executives leaving the company where they've gone on to do other things, sometimes bigger, sometimes just kind of taking their winnings and enjoying their life. Zach has been there for 13 years, and one would think that he had quite a bit of compensation from a stock perspective that he's been able to capitalize on while he was at the company. So I think Zach may be at the point now, especially not very recently married as well. Maybe he has plans about having a future or whatever it may be. But from my perspective, I think Zach just came to a natural conclusion in this chapter of his life and is probably moving on to the next one. And it seems like with the company being in pretty good hands, profitable, Cybertruck about to launch, they got Giga Mexico building out, you got FSD on the cusp, you got Model Y best-selling cars, so on and so forth. Probably not a bad time to step away and start that new chapter personally. However, whenever a high-profile exec leaves a company, it's always a surprise. There's never, I believe, a good time for somebody to leave. We've seen this again in the past with people like JB Straubel leaving the company back in 2017, 2018, whenever he left. And then more recently, Andrej Karpathy, who was the head of AI for Tesla. When he left, every time one of these things happen, people sort of go kind of lose their minds. They're like, oh my God, what happened? There's instability. But I think it's important to keep in mind that it's unrealistic to expect people to stay at one company forever. And with Zach being at Tesla for 13 years, 4 years as CFO, at a position that's probably extremely taxing and I'm sure is not easy whatsoever, it's probably, one would think that at some point that person's going to leave. The context of it, again, we'll probably never know. These things are usually personal unless Elon decides to come out on X or on an earnings call and, they'll say something together, which I expect they'll do in Q3 earnings, especially if Zach's staying through the end of the year. But unless that happens, we can all speculate. But some of the breadcrumbs show that this is not, at least from my opinion, something that we really have to worry about. It's just the natural course of people's careers and personal lives. And so now the new question becomes, how does this impact Tesla's long term? If you're a Tesla investor, is Zach leaving something that's going to cause the company to perform more poorly? Is it a sign of bigger things? Let me know in the comment section what you think. But from my perspective, Tesla is an engineering company. All the engineering talent is still there. That's by far where the company is deepest. And of course, having a CFO and having strong financials is extremely important. But from the standpoint of execution of the company, it seems like that role is probably a little bit more secondary than, say, head of engineering or Elon Musk in this case, one of the best engineers in the world. I think it's obviously sucks for Tesla, and I'm super happy for Zach to be moving on to the new chapter of his life. But I believe from a long-term perspective, this is inconsequential. And regardless of what happens with the stock today, I think it's down almost 1.5%, 2% as of right now based on these news. Then that's just short-term, and long-term, the story should continue to prove out because Tesla is an engineering company. It's a product company. And I think they'll be able to replace Zach with somebody just as talented and who knows, even more talented. And so as always, whenever something like this happens in the investing world or in the Tesla world, I always like to say that this is the perfect time to use this as a way to ensure that you're invested for the right reasons in anything that you're invested in. I know a lot of you are invested in Tesla stock that follow this channel. And so something like this happens, I say, just revisit your thesis. See if you're interested in the company for the right reasons. See if you're invested in the company for the right reasons. How does this shift move your way on how you're thinking about the company? And think about why you're invested in a company, short-term, medium-term, long-term, and then make a decision there. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's completely up to you. But I think moments like these, it's just very important to redo your due diligence and ensure that you are in it for the right reasons. And so if there's a little bit of advice that I can give you, that's basically it. If you're enjoying this content, I would love it if you throw me a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this to more people. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to support the channel, I'd love it if you subscribe. Most of you are still not subscribed when you watch this channel, and that's completely okay. But if you do want to support the channel, you can hit subscribe, or you can use my links in the description to purchase merch or Athletic Greens, which is a supplement I take every single morning. You'll get free travel packs and vitamin D with your purchase. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was informative and helpful, and we'll see you later today once Lucid releases their earnings. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.